Trauma gives us our beach ball as we swim in the waters of life. What I mean by that, it's a metaphor that I've found to be useful in treatment, where imagine in this world that we live in, all human beings are swimming in this very large collective ocean. And if everything goes well in your life, you swim with both hands. You feel free. You feel open to do the things that you want to do. You can swim freely without being encumbered by anything. And all you have to worry about is not drowning and treading water and the potential predators that exist in life. But you are, in theory, swimming with people you care about. So the water feels a little bit warm. But you're also not encumbered by any sort of objects in your hand. So it seems pretty easy until you get old and eventually pass away. However, if you're a survivor of trauma, you tend to get tossed the beach ball in life. Beach balls, if you've ever been to the beach, they're huge, but also they're really, really hard to miss. Easily seen in the water, unless the person who has the beach ball, the traumatic experience, tries to keep that beach ball underwater. And that's actually what avoidance coping looks like, where I had this beach ball. I didn't create it. I didn't ask for it. It was thrown at me and I cannot seem to get away from it. So the next best thing is to tuck it under the water as hard as I possibly can. And early on, it feels like, oh my gosh, like it works. Like, sure, I'm swimming with just my legs, and sure, my arms are getting tired holding this beach ball under the water, but the fortunate aspect of it is at least people don't see it. At least I look normal to other swimmers who don't have the beach ball experience that I do. At least to these people, I'm swimming just like they are. And early on in life, when you're young, it actually seems to be effective. If I can continue to avoid acknowledging that this beach ball exists, I can hold it under the water as hard as I possibly can and keep kicking and find my way in life and try to exist with this beach ball experience that no one knows I have. I can't see beneath the water, but I know it's there. Problem comes in two areas: friendship and intimacy. When I say friendships and intimacy, I'm talking about friendships and dating relationships, and aging. Aging, it's the easiest one to address. At some point you get tired. You cannot hold the beach ball under the water forever. You just can't. You're going to get tired. And this is why you see unaddressed trauma affecting people the most in their 40s and 50s, when they're tired and they've been holding on to this experience for decades, and they've been pushing it down under the water as their beach ball for decades. But the other side of that coin is friendships and intimacy. And why that becomes important is because primarily for intimacy and dating relationships, you tend to want to swim with a partner. You tend to want to have someone in the water with you. And initially, everything seems fine when you have that intimacy-based traumatic beach ball, particularly for people who are survivors of sexual abuse. They keep the ball tucked in the water, they keep swimming, they meet a partner, that person likes them, I like swimming with you too. And everything seems great until that person who's swimming with you and who's taken a liking to you reaches their hand out to hold yours, metaphorically speaking. Connection, intimacy. It becomes very difficult to hold their hand, to reach it out honestly and connect with that person while you're pushing down that beach ball, because it's already hard enough holding the beach ball under the water with two hands, but now try to do it with one and tread water and not drown while also holding the hand of this intimate partner. What tends to happen is after a while, the whole thing collapses and the beach ball comes flying out of the water in moments where you were uncomfortable and not expecting it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a panic attack. It's a moment where your emotional response is completely exposed. The feeling you get is a feeling of exposure because you're having a response akin to what the experience was when you were being abused, or you were experiencing or witnessing the abuse. The flashbacks, the memories, the physiological sensations, they all come flooding back in the form of this beach ball now out of the water. And it's embarrassing as hell. And the partner that was hoping to hold your hand, who didn't know you had a beach ball, now they know too, as is the knowledge that everyone else around you gleans as well, because they see the beach ball also. And you scramble like hell to try to get it back underwater. You really try, and you get a handle on the beach ball for that moment, but now you know that there is a potential for me to get tired or things to happen in life to make that beach ball pop out the water, i.e. recurrent panic attacks. And then you start to avoid intimacy altogether. Sex may be something that a person disconnects from intimacy altogether so they can pursue sex, but the connection from sex makes them uncomfortable because that connection involves possibly losing hold of that beach ball and having further and further panic attacks. So then people continue to avoid and cope more and more to avoid further panic attacks, and your world begins to shrink. The unfortunate thing about having a beach ball, one of the saddest things about having it, is looking at a world of people who don't. Imagine trying to explain that as a survivor of abuse, a survivor of trauma, who has a legitimate traumatic experiences to be concerned about with a beach ball. You have your beach ball and you're swimming with it and doing the best you can, putting in the God's honest effort to just make it in life. And then you see other people in life who, one, they don't have a beach ball. They're swimming without it and enjoying life freely. And then they're looking at you confused, like, why are you struggling so much with these emotional experiences that we all have normally? Well, they wouldn't know what it's like to be a person who survived abuse. They can't know. It's something that they'll never be able to have experiential empathy for because they didn't experience it themselves.